It's week 2, ladies and gentlemen. It is week 2 of season 9 of the APDL. My name is Josh, and we've got a real good one for you today. Welcome, everyone, boys, girls, all around. I'm going to dump my headset for the remainder of the video so that I can hear. We've got some Zelda boss fight dubstep in the background. I'm going to turn that just down a little bit more. All right. So, like I said, it's week 2. And we play our brother, the commish, old good buddy Noah, hop on my arc, coach of the Arkadian Avalanche, rival leaderboard, top of the power rankings. We've got a good one and a tough game today because Noah's team is spooky scary, and we want to make sure that after our kind of disappointing week 1 game where we lost to Hooper in a very close one, a 1-0 loss in week 1, we want to rebound. We want to get back into playoff ship shape. Make sure that we don't fall 0-2 on the season. So this is a super important week, and we have a lot to go through as far as team builders concerned, and some of the other things. Obviously, the match, and I don't want to take too much time blubbering about on the intro. So let's just dive straight into the team builder, shall we? For our week 2, Twin City Talonflames. Okay, so for this week, we had kind of a game plan moving into it to really set up for one mon in particular to go ham and just fire off attacks and try and get some kills. So the whole game plan is around making Wishy-Washy go burr. That is the plan. It's got a really good matchup spread against Noah's team, and I think that having the Wishy-Washy there for us this week is going to be super important. So, Wishy-Washy is going to be the main offensive powerhouse that we want to move and build towards because Noah's team is scary. As a real quick summary before we get into the set and stuff here for Wishy-Washy, Noah's team consists of Dragonite, Mamoswine, Starmie, Darmanitan, Flygon, Ambipom, Wheezing Galar, Masquerain, Banette, and Probopass. So a super scary team, top to bottom. He drafted extremely well. He played really well in week 1. And he's got some insane threats on his team, mainly the Dragonite, the Darmanitan, Mamoswine and Flygon are also super good. Wheezing is a big tank. Starmie is a good role player that could be defensive or offensive. Masquerain has webs and intimidate. So a lot of things to prep for top to bottom. But in looking at the type chart and the matchup spread, Wishy-Washy with Scald and Ice Beam kind of hits just about everything on his team for really, really good damage. So that's kind of the plan moving into kind of this week's set. So we're running obviously max HP and max special attack, kind of leaning into that big attack stat when I'm in schooling form. And I want to give it U-turn, protect, and some leftovers just to kind of help with some longevity. We have the Arbalva this week, so grassy terrain is definitely also in play. We want to make sure that passive recovery for Wishy-Washy is there so that good old little Dory can really just stay in for as long as possible, stay healthy, and fire off big scalds. So we kind of built the team around making sure that Wishy-Washy could do its thing. So, in support of Wishy-Washy, we brought a defensive Copperajah this week. A big girl elephant with the assault vest for an item. We are max special defense with a ton of investment in HP. And we really leaned into the fact that that HP stat for Copperajah is huge. Base, it's base 122 for HP, and we've got base 130 attack. So having, just the leftovers in that attack stat make Copperajah actually pretty threatening. and I can actually fire off some good attacks. And that's important because Assault Vest doesn't let us run any supporting moves. So we went with a Ironhead, Play Rough, Earthquake, and Facade for our moves this week. The idea is that Caparajah is kind of the one mon that I needed just to kind of soak up whatever his special threats might be. Masquerade, Starmie, things like that. If it's a special Dragonite or a special Flygon, those are the things that I was kind of like looking for a counter for. The Wheezing also could be, some weird offensive potential. It's got pretty decent special attack and attack. So I wanted to be ready based on kind of what he was going to bring and what he could bring on the special side. And I felt that Caparajah had a pretty good matchup spread across the board. And with that Assault Vest and then Sheer Force, we could actually like take hits and dish them out too. So really like the Caparajah set for this week, and it definitely is a cool first coming out party for it. Okay. So, next up, kind of sticking with the wall theme here, Bodacious is back with the exact same investment, item, and ability as last week. The Intimidate leftover set is just so good. Max HP and defense just means that I can sit in front of things and take hits really, really well. Swapped up the move set just a little bit. We've got Raging Bull, Stone Edge, just because the things like Dragonite, and some of the other mons on his team. Stone Edge is kind of the better coverage move. Aqua Jet for some priority and just kind of cleaning some things up. And then Protect just to kind of help, again, thinking that we'll have grassy terrain down and leftovers. Just kind of having that passive recovery and being able to scout a little bit with Protect. So that's the physical wall for this week. One of our physical attackers and kind of the big physical attacker this week for us, the physical threat, the other side of Wishy-Washy's coin is the Baxcalibur. It's got a super good matchup spread against his team, especially his big threats don't appreciate ice type moves. And Earthquake and Ironhead also are super good, just coverage moves that do a lot of damage. We're going a Dragon Dance set. There may be some situations where I can, have a good matchup staring me in the face. Click one Dragon Dance and I'll be faster than everything if it doesn't have a Scarf, because I'm jolly and max speed. And then actually we're running the Clear Amulet this week on the Baxcalibur to avoid Sticky Web shenanigans or Intimidate or any other thing that, it might kind of hamper this thing from being able to set up and just kind of finish a game. So definitely looking for a late game entry point for Baxcalibur. Hopefully clean up what Wishy-Washy can't finish. So really excited about the back set this week, and I think it is going to be good for a kind of physical threat for Noah to have to deal with. Kind of going more into some support stuff here. Like I mentioned a couple of times, we have our Balava, Ophelia coming into play for this week. That's its first foray. We're bringing 3 new mons this week, which is great. So we've got the Tauros, the Baxcalibur, and the Crobat seeing back-to-back weeks of usage, but Wishy-Washy, Caparajah, and Arbalava all get their first start this year. So I'm really excited to kind of, like I said, build a support system around Wishy-Washy, and Arbalava is a big part of that. Max HP, max special attack, so another kind of threat to be able to dish out some damage. Seed Sower leftovers means that this thing will continue to gain HP back, and I'm running kind of a wear 'em down set with Giga Drain, Earth Power, Dazzling Gleam, and Strength Sap. This thing is meant to take one hit, live one hit from something, Strength Sap it if it's a physical mon, heal all the way back up, get the attack drop, proc our Seed Sower ability, start regaining HP, and then firing off Giga Drains and Earth Powers to clean things up. And Dazzling Gleam is great for the dragon types that Noah has. So I love this thing. I'm so excited to use it. I think it's a great mon, and I think it's a really big core piece of my gameplay and the game plan for this week. And I'm excited to see if kind of our passive recovery plan can actually do what it's supposed to. So that's the Arbalva for this week. And then finally, like I said, we're bringing the Crobat back. Very similar to our week 1 set. It's a defensive utility mon, fast defensive utility mon. Heavy duty boots, Super Fang, Defog, Roost, and U-turn. This is really just meant to get in, Super Fang a big wall, get hazards out of the way, U-turn, give me some priority, and just be really good utility. I left Toxic off this week just because I thought that Defog was more important. I don't want to switch stuff in and keep taking that chip damage. And Noah's got some pretty reliable rock setters that I want to make sure that I'm covered for. So that is the Crobat and all of the investments there. And that's the team for this week. So really excited about what we brought. And now it's time to get into the actual game. Oh, and let me know what your favorite set is down in the comments below. I want more interaction, more back and forth on my YouTube videos. That's kind of like the next step. I've got the layout all taken care of. I want to up the production value, and I want to get some engagement going in the comment section. So let me know your favorite set and what you think is going to happen in the game as of this kind of 12-minute mark in the video. So, as a review, we talked about all of Noah's big threats. He ended up bringing not what I thought he was going to bring. I'm not surprised to see the Weezing, the Mamoswine, and the Darmanitan. I'm really not even surprised to see the Starmie. But the Ambipom and the Probopass are like not something I thought he was going to bring. I could have sworn there was going to be a Dragonite in there. Flygon I thought was a really good bring for him. And I was definitely kind of taken aback, when I saw this lineup. So for us, kind of looking at this team, I see some big physical threats, and I see a couple of big defensive mons, and I'm not sure what the Starmie is going to be. If it's going to be screens, support, if it's going to be offensive, fast specs, or something like that. Not really sure, but I think kind of looking at my team and looking what he ended up bringing, knowing that his Terramon, once we got into here, was going to be Mamoswine. I picked Arbalva, which has Terra Water on it, which was meant to eat up the fire and ice type attacks and save me from having super effective on the grass type. So I picked Arbalva, kind of thinking long term into the game. At some point, I'm going to Terra Water, eat up a Flame Charge or something, get the Strength Sap off, and go to town with Earth Power. So figured that was pretty good against both Mamoswine and Darmanitan. So that's kind of, I picked the Arbalva, and Noah went with Mamoswine for his Terramons. So going into kind of what our leads are, I'm really not sure. I've kind of learned that I don't really have a good lead unless I'm going to go Crobat and U-turn right away. And that's how I started the week 1 matchup. And I wanted to be a little bit different this time around. So I actually go Tauros off the bat. Intimidate's pretty good against his team across the board. So I definitely wanted to, just kind of grab that right away and make sure that, if he led something physical, that we can get the Intimidate drop right away and then just kind of go from there. Also, Raging Bull does good damage against just about everything he brought. So, going for it on turn 1 is pretty safe overall. Find out that he's Air Balloon. Noah makes the switch. And we do Raging Bull into a Weezing, just 25%. Pretty decent, for us being uninvested and me expecting a fully defensive Weezing, which turns out it was. So, no harm, no foul. Find out that it's not Misty Terrain, which is great news for us. because having a terrain war when my strategy kind of revolves around having the grassy terrain up, this thing being levitate, or I don't even know what Weezing's other ability is. I think it's like clear, or oh god, it's like a haze type thing. I forget what it is. Regardless, it's not Misty Terrain or Misty Surge, so that's really good news for us, and we kind of start to gain a little bit of information. I don't really know what he's going to do to me here, so I just go for Protect. I wanted to scout, see if he was going to try and Toxic me or go for a damaging move, expecting some kind of fairy type move to come in and do a lot of damage to me. So I wanted to Protect, but he actually goes into the Probopass again, doubles back out, maybe, going, me thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to fire off an Earthquake or something, to try and call his bluff if he's not Levitate or if he's one of the other abilities. But I'm just kind of going to go for Raging Bull. I didn't want to take the chance. And we, end up getting some really good damage off on the Probopass and popping the balloon. So I'm in a pretty good spot when he finally gets rocks up on turn 3. I'm not really threatened by this thing. But I know that if he's going to try anything, it's probably not going to do a lot of damage to my Arbalva. And I think that this is a pretty decent chance for me to get in and get the grassy terrain up. So I make the switch and he Volt Switches and it does no damage, which is great. The natural bulk and the max HP is super good for my little olive tree here. And we're sitting in a pretty decent spot. I'm just getting the Pokepaste out of the way. Sorry about that. And we're sitting in a pretty decent spot. Seed Sower procs, Ambipom comes out, and we end up healing all the way back up to 95%. So here is the interesting thing, right? Not sure what this Ambipom wants to do. Probably wants to fake out or something like that. Or go for a double hit or some kind of attacking move. And this is the situation that I wanted to be in. This is like, okay, physical threat. I'm pretty confident I'm not going to die to anything. I'm going to take a lot of damage from like an acrobatics or something, which is exactly what happens. He goes for Aerial Ace, which does 75%. Tons of damage, but we live and are able to find out he's Life Orb, and the Strength Sap works. I get all of my HP back. He's going to get some healing, just to counteract that Life Orb with the grassy terrain. But now we're in a really good spot. Found out the Ambipom's item. It's got Aerial Ace, and it's got an attack drop. So now our Arbalva can oh no. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Arbalva is actually in a pretty decent spot. So he swaps because it's not a good spot for the Ambipom to be in. The Weezing comes in, and that Giga Drain actually does a lot more damage to the Weezing than I thought it would. Just the fact that we're max HP, max special attack, and we're a modest nature means that that damage is actually pretty decent. I, however, do not want to take a Sludge Wave from this thing. So I swap, and we get the Toxic nullified by going into our special wall, Shahara, the Copper So great turn for us. We're in the driver's seat. I really feel good 7 turns in. We're gaining information. We're chipping things down. And I really feel like I'm in control. The one thing that kind of stinks is that rocks are down and I haven't had a chance to defog them away. But it's a problem for future Josh to have to deal with. So now that we have Copper against Weezing, I just am going to start firing off Iron Heads. It's kind of just a good middle ground play. It's going to do the most damage. And he actually protects and scouts, so that's fine. And I'm just kind of in a spot where, whatever he switches in, I'm just going to Iron Head it. It's good coverage against everything. It's going to do good damage. And actually, the swap into the Probopass, which has split investment and max HP. Looking at his Pokepaste, we did 30%. Another one will kill, so I really don't have to swap out at all. He goes for Thunderwave, which is a great play from him. Hampers my elephant a little bit here, but now we're paralyzed, and Facade is going to start doing a lot more damage, which is great. So he's going to Volt Switch. We're Assault Vested and max Special Defense. That does a ton of really good damage. The Ironhead comes through, hits the Starmie, which had no HP investment, but a little bit in a little bit of it had 4 points in defense, but it's resisted, so the Ironhead doesn't do a ton. But we eat the Hydro Pump, take it super well, and then Facade is going to clean up for the first kill of the game 12 turns in. So again, feel really good about where I'm at. Caparajah is still really healthy. I'm at 63%. I'm paralyzed, which kind of stinks. But his only other special attacking threat now is the Wheezing, because I think the Probopass at this point is kind of all just support, right? We've seen Volt Switch, we've seen Stealth Rock, we've seen Thunderwave. It's probably got one more move, and it's most likely a special attacker. So Caparajah against that thing, no big deal. I don't, however, want to stay in and take a hit from this Ambipom. Still, again, trying to gain a little bit more information about what its moves are. I know it's got a Life Orb, and I know that a Intimidate will do wonders for this. So we go into the Bodacious, the Bull, we get the Intimidate drop, we eat the Low Kick. We're doing really well here. So we're going to heal up. And this is, again, a spot where we pretty safely can go for Raging Bull. It's kind of the best move. Just it's stab, good damage. I lose nothing going for it. Especially now that the Starmie's gone. It's not resisted by anything, and I can just fire it off. Doesn't do a ton of damage to the Wheezing, but it's a good play. I want to scout and just see what he's going to try and do. Which is good. Last time he tried to Toxic one of my walls, so I figured, okay, let's protect, see what he's gonna do. Strange Steam gets eaten up, we get healed back, and now it's just a spot where I can go back into Caparajah. So playing really well to my outs. He goes for Toxic like he tried to do last time. And we end up eating that with the Steel typing. And we're doing really well walling out the Wheezing here. His Strange Steam does 6%, and our Facade's gonna, keep chipping away. It's not doing a ton of damage, but it's doing enough. Unfortunately, here's where we get paralyzed a couple turns back to back. And he's gonna Power Gem me down to 41% before the Ironhead connects to take out the second casualty of the game, the Probopass. So at this point, we're 20 turns in, and I'm up 4-6, or 6-4, and we're feeling really good. So now we kind of come to a crossroads, right? Caparajah has served its purpose at this point in the game. The Wheezing is down to 37%, which is in a range where something else can kill it. And I don't really need to wall it out anymore. At this point, we've seen 3 of its moves: Strange Steam, Protect, and Toxic. And it, had Defog, I found out later. So, Caparajah totally walls it, right? Just totally walls it. However, I don't really want anything else on my team taking a hit from the Darmanitan, and I'm kind of reading this as a good situation to where I can let Caparajah go down, and I can bring the fish in and start powering through his team. So I make the decision to sack off the Caparajah, and we go down to 5 instead of 6, and we force a swap out because Darmanitan against Wishy-Washy is a good match for me. Which is great because now Wishy-Washy can scald through, kills the Wheezing, which is great. We're going to protect just to get another turn of leftovers recovery and then also scout to see what this Ambipom wants to do. I really want Dory to be at full HP as long as possible. Make sure that her schooling ability doesn't proc to where we're losing out on this massive threat. He shows Seed Bomb, which is a scary thing to look at, especially when I'm a water type and I have 2 other mons, if you count the Terror type for Arbalva, that want to be water type. So super good tech from Noah. Really, really good tech. But I kind of see this as a spot where I'm not going to die to a Seed Bomb from this Ambipom. I know I'm not going to die. And Scald is going to do a lot of damage. So I'm kind of at a point where, I lose nothing staying in. So I'm just going to let it get hit, and a Scald's going to take out the Ambipom. I don't know if Noah expected me to switch there and go into the Tauros, because the Aerial Ace does a lot to that Pokemon. I think that's probably why he read that move, potentially. And it does a lot to the Arbalva if he thought that I was maybe going to swap in the Grass type to eat the move. But we just, like I said, I don't die to any of the moves that this thing has. So I'm just going to fire off a Scald, and we can leftovers recovery and play around the rest of his team. And I saw a kill, and I took it. So now it is 5-2. We're 24 turns in. Things are looking really good. And now the Mamoswine comes out. The next couple of turns were a little dicey just because my internet dropped. I don't know what happened, but I lost connection, and I was like kind of trying to look things up to see what this Mamoswine could do to me. And I was like, well, it can't really do anything to me, right? But I figured let's protect and scout and see what it wants to do. I knew it was the Terramon, so I figured either we'd see Terra type here because he doesn't want to take a Scald when he's still ground type. Turns out to be Terra Water, which is great information, and he uses Freeze Dry, which again is just a great tech from Noah. However, Mamoswine's special attack is not the most diabolical thing in the world, but it's nothing to scoff at. It's base 70 special attack, so it's like not terrible. And it kind of was like, oh, he's got Freeze Dry. That's bad for my Tauros. It's bad for Wishy-Washy, and it kind of means that I can't really Terra type my Arbalva until this Mamoswine is gone. Because water is bad into that super effective Freeze Dry. So definitely means I got to plan and play around this a little bit. And I did some calcs, tried to figure things out. And I just kind of made the decision that firing off a Scald is my best bet here. I don't think that I can die to anything he's going to do. And a Scald still is kind of my best play. Maybe I get a burn. We're going to chip away now that it's water type. Ice Beam's not really going to do a ton. I don't really want a U-turn. So I'm just going to fire off a Scald and see what happens. There's a reason why Noah made this switch. And I'll just say, watch his video to kind of, hear his explanation and his kind of thought process on this swap. But we catch a big break and we're able to hit this Darmanitan with the Scald and just, catch an extra kill here to go up 5-1. There is, like I said, there's definitely a reason why Noah made that switch. So watch his video to understand why. It kind of has to deal with the Baxcalibur and some of the stuff that I still had in the back and kind of setting up some kind of a win condition for Noah. But you definitely need to kind of hear him explain it, and I won't ruin it or spoil it. But this means that the fully healthy water type Mamoswine comes back in. We know it's got Freeze Dry, and that's about it. So I just kind of am in a spot where I'm going to protect, get a little bit more leftovers recovery. I kind of knew that the freeze dry was coming. At this point, I don't even know its item yet. It could be Life Orb, it could be Expert Belt, it could be Choice Banded, which would be weird because he went for a special move, but you never know. Could be, a number of different things. Turns out it's Choice Specs, which means that this max special attack, modest-natured Mamoswine with Choice Specs and Freeze Dry, an Ice-type move that is super effective against almost everything on my team, is still a big threat that I have to deal with. I take a bunch of damage, and we fire off Scalds, which is resisted. We do 30% damage, which is great, but my Schooling breaks, and Dory is going to go down after going 3-1 this week. Great showing for the fish. We kind of executed our game plan extremely well, so I'm happy with that effort. Now I'm in a spot where, I don't really know what to think. I really want to make sure that I can kill this thing reliably. Looking at calcs and how it's tear typed presents a little bit of an issue for me with it being so healthy. One great solution to that is Crobat coming in and racking off a Super Fang and getting 35% taken away right away. We know it's not leftovers. He's not recovering any HP. Maybe he's a rest Chestoberry set. I'm not sure at this point yet. Like I said, we don't really figure out the item until very end. When we saw the Pokepaste and Noah and I talked. So I really just want to make sure that Crobat can come in, Super Fang, hopefully live one hit, and then be able to defog away the rocks or get another 30. It'd be like 15-17% chip with the second Super Fang. For the second week in a row, we missed a Super Fang. Feels bad, man. Feels real bad. And we get punished for it because the freeze dry comes out and does 82%. We live, though, which is the important thing because I can have a redemption turn and be able to actually get that Super Fang off. But the Mamoswine picks up a second kill and Drac goes down. So now my 5-1 lead is now 3-1, and we are whittling this thing down. Looking at what my options are, again, I'm playing for differential, kind of. I still don't know what this thing is. All it's used is freeze dry. I'm not really sure what it's going to try and do, but I send in the Tauros to hopefully make sure that I don't die to a physical move that comes out of nowhere. I get the Intimidate drop, and I want to go for Stone Edge plus Aqua Jet, and I think that's going to be enough to kill it. The Stone Edge comes through, does enough to bring the Mamoswine down to 9 HP. Freeze Dry obliterates me. So now this Mamoswine has gone 3-0 in this kind of tried reverse sweep here, and I'm kind of terrified. Our Balava dies to this thing. I know for sure it dies. But the one thing that I do have is a max speed Baxcalibur, which at this point I'm pretty sure is faster than the Mamoswine. This is the play that could have happened turns ago, but I wanted to be really safe and make sure that I didn't lose the game. So differential was less important than winning overall, and I wanted to make sure that there was no funny business. There was no way that I was going to lose the game. So we go through, and actually Pendragon can Earthquake our way to a 2-0 victory after avoiding the reverse sweep. And a great game played by Noah and I. 33 turns, and we bounce back with a 2-0 victory. So super, super good game. Really, really proud of how I prepped and how I played this week. I think it was a much cleaner game this week than in week one. And that was kind of the goal coming into this week, was to clean up my gameplay more than anything, because there were more than a few mistakes in week one that I don't know if they necessarily lost me the game, just because Hooper played so well. But there were definitely swing turns in that game that if I played better, it might have been a situation where I could have maybe won because it was just a 1-0. So this week, week 2 against Noah, who arguably just as good, if not better or more scary of an opponent. I felt that Noah had the better team, or the scarier team, in prepping for these last 2 games. So I really wanted to make sure that I played cleanly in week 2, and I think we did that. Like I said, differential mattered less than winning the game, and we were able to come away with a really solid 2-0 victory against a very good opponent. Noah brought some weird stuff. The Mamoswine was definitely surprising. Nobody expects a special specs Mamoswine, right? So super cool set from him. Definitely brought a team I did not prep well for, or I didn't think he was going to bring. I think I prepped extremely well, all things considered, but he brought some things that I wasn't expecting, which was really cool. And like I said, the biggest thing is we played to a strategy that gave us a really good chance to win in the end. The wishy-washy was the game plan, kind of the carry that we wanted to build the team around, and it got 3 kills in its first week, so I feel really, really good about that. And the Arbalva being support, tanking a hit, getting a kill, doing its thing. Actually, I don't know if it got a kill. Oh gosh. Shoot, I should have checked this out before I said anything. I'm sorry. And Discord is loading so I can check my report games. No, the Arbalba went 0-0, but it did get the strength sap off. Did some good damage. Got my grassy terrain going. So played to my outs, played to my strategy, and we did a really cool bounce back game this week. So thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Let's see just real quickly who we play in week number 3. We're kind of early getting this game in week 2. So we have a little bit of time actually before we get into our 3rd week matchup for this season. But let's just pull up who our opponent is in week 3. So we actually are going to end up playing the Florida Florges in week 3. So that's a new team this year, or a new season, or a new team this season. So really excited to play someone new in the league and be able to have a really fun matchup there. Haven't really looked at the team yet. I know it's going to be a tough one. Everybody in this league is bringing their best. We had some awesome games in week 1. A lot of close games in week 1, a couple of sweeps. And I think, you definitely don't take a win for granted, especially this season. So, thanks for watching. If you made it to 37 minutes, I really appreciate you. I brought the Forsgren pheasant, which is kind of like a Talonflame. So maybe it's a good luck hat with a fire chicken on there. But I really appreciate you guys sticking around. And we will see you in week 3 very, very soon. Thanks so much. Take care.